Hello dear tea friends from around the world, and welcome to a new class with me, Stefan Erler, from the Tea Masters blog and the tea-masters.com boutique. Welcome to a little bit gray day in Taiwan. It's a little bit cooler, much cooler than last week, but it's not raining, and rain is going to be a major topic of today, because the situation I want to talk to you about for this spring currently is the lack of rain in the central Taiwan. I already spoke about it several weeks ago, that it was looking like there would be a shortage of water this spring, but unfortunately no rain has come in the meantime, and the shortage has become worse and worse. So bad that they had to start cutting the water supplies in Taichung, the major city in central Taiwan. So they have 2 days without any water. So the situation is dramatic, and they also are implementing some help for the farmers in the central region, in the mountains. When I went to Alishan last week, the farmer was working on some additional water retainer to have more water in order to irrigate his tea plantation during these very hard times of lack of rainfall. This this lack of rainfall started already last summer, because that was quite unusual. There was no typhoon landing on Taiwan last summer, and usually a typhoon, that's when you get the most water. Sometimes the waterfall is so strong that they even have to open up the reservoirs to let some water away, because water coming from a typhoon is so plentiful that it more than replenishes water reservoirs. But unfortunately the weather was too mild, and well, despite it was quite hot, but no typhoon came last summer, and I think this is actually the major cause. And the rain that we are waiting for now would not be so as plentiful as the typhoon, but still we hope that there will be some rain at some point. But just to say that this right now has some impact on the growth of tea. Tea plantations, tea trees are wrestling to have enough water to grow. So far this has more reduced the quantity of the leaves produced in the plantations. Well, usually less quantity means a little bit more concentration, so it's not entirely bad, but this will actually probably lower also the quantity of tea produced, but we hope that at least there will be enough tea to grow, that it can be harvested, and that the result at the end will be good. Right now we only have a few early teas. Well, two of them, Bilochun and Baozhong, come from the north of Taiwan, and in the north, luckily, we have enough water. Usually we complain about it in Taiwan, that the north receives too much water, that it's always rainy in Taipei when it's sunny in Taichung. But at least this year, this has turned to an advantage for the north region, that there is enough water. There are no water shortages in Taipei, and the Baozhong and Bilochun in the north of Taiwan are growing, I would say, pretty normally. It's more the central and south of Taiwan that are affected by the drought. Nevertheless, I was still able to also select Qin Yu Jade Oolong from Zhoushan region. Zhoushan, that is a town or an area that is a bit between Dongding and Shaninxi, and it's about 600 meters, so it's not it's a bit in between mountain and plain. This one was harvested on March 23rd. I did not have jade for a while, so I'm glad to be able to propose it again. Oh, sorry, I have to interrupt this. I'll be back in a second. This is live. 1 second. 我在上播，不在。Yeah, sorry for the interruption. Today we have a reunion for the owner association of the building. I'll do that a bit later on. So, where were we? So, Tsueyu is back in inventory. It provides also a nice alternative to Jinshuan. Tsueyu and Jinshuan were both created in the early 80s and are a bit similar in concept, lighter fragrance, and also lighter taste, so that they are easy to brew. Maybe Jinshuan has a bit taken more and more market share over the years, as there was a more general trend toward Jinshuan more than toward Tsueyu, but also in part because of the reputation that Jinshuan was having a natural milky aroma, but actually this was, or this is still faked a lot. In the early years, this was a characteristic that that was pregnant with these young trees, but after a while, when the trees grew old, this aroma began to disappear, was less and less, and that's why lots of merchants replaced it with artificial aromas of vanilla and caramel and fudge. But Tsueyu is still a very natural, completely natural tea with a nice, more meadows aroma, while Jinshuan, I feel it's a bit more flowery. And actually, the Jinshuan also is back in stock. This year, I'm glad that I have High Mountain Spring Jinshuan from Alishan, Juefeng. It was harvested on March 29, and so you can also check it out. Last year we had it from, it was not a High Mountain. I was too late, but this year just in time, and also just in time because my stock of winter Jinshuan is almost gone. But today's main topic, actually, I want to discuss is another tea that I also already selected this year. It's Qin Yu Oolong, actually, and Baozhong. Actually, yeah, the name is Qin Yu. It's TTES Taiwan Tea Extension Station number 22. This is the number that is given to cultivars that are created by the Taiwan Tea Research Institute Center. And so Jinshuan is number 12, Tsueyu Jade is number 13, and you see much later we have now Qin Yu as number 22. Okay, I start to be thirsty. This is my shot at drinking some tea while teaching tea. One of the nicest side benefits one can think of. People who work for the train, they get to ride trains for free. If you are a doctor, you get medicine for free. If you are working in a gym, you can exercise for free. Well, if you make tea classes, you can drink for free, or at least you can drink on the job. And not so many people can say that. Here are the leaves of this Qin Yu turned into Baozhong in Sanxia on March 19. Can have a look. Right away, I can already smell all the smells from this garden. This tea really has very nicely picked up all the flower smells of this garden. We can see the leaves are rather small, well dried. Oh yeah, they make a nice sound. There are some very dark parts, some are very green, fresh green. I also see some more reddish parts and a little bit of buds also. So it looks very promising. So this new cultivar is quite interesting because well, any new cultivar is always a combination of two cultivars. They don't yet use a GMOs method to produce new cultivars in Taiwan. They simply crossbreed two older present cultivars. So this Qin Yu is a cross of a mix of Qingxing oolong and Jinxuan. Qingxing as the father and Jinxuan as the mother. So it's quite interesting because these two cultivars are right now, I think, the most popular. At least if you look at the high mountain oolongs, which is probably the most popular category for oolongs in Taiwan. You have almost only Qingxing and Jinxuan. You also find a lot of Qingxing, or almost only Jinxing, in Dongding for the traditional Dongding oolong, Hongshui oolong. And Jinxuan, as I said, really has also become more and more popular. And it has been even used to make red tea. But this Qin Yu is supposed to be better for oolong, light oxidized oolong. So let's find out. And the other thing about this tea that is really very interesting is, since it's a new cultivar, this is also a new plantation and new trees. This cultivar actually was officially released in 2014, but as is normal for tea, it takes a while between the moment that a tea cultivar is announced and the moment that it goes into tea plantations, and it also needs a few years to grow. So actually this farmer, he made a new plantation for this new cultivar. I could see it was not there 2 years ago, but last year I saw that the trees were planted, and this year he was able to make the very first harvest from this plantation, and he turned it into Baozhong. So not only is this a new plantation, but it's also the very first harvest from this new plantation. And it's not a plantation that was uprooted to make to plant a new trees, but it was a piece of land that had never been used for to plant plants before. So the soil is especially rich because it's completely new. It has never been used for farming in the past. This is also a good explanation for why the quality of new plantation is superior. Is they are well, they are so natural, and so you don't have to add any ingredients to make them produce more tea, because the soil is rich enough. And that's why also high mountain oolongs have become popular in the past, because high mountain oolongs was a trend that started in the 90s, and then once it started, farmers would find a new plot of land in the high mountains and plant it from scratch, and this really would produce teas that are very pure, because the soil was completely virgin to begin with. Hello Jimmy, thank you for the video. We'll take the time to view it tomorrow morning. Bye bye. Thank you for coming, Jimmy. I hope you'll enjoy it tomorrow. As much as I'm enjoying my Baozhong, it is already quite concentrated. Even I did not use so many leaves. You can see my Gawan is maybe 60% full, only, not 100%. I did not brew it particularly long, but the smells are really intense, very, very flowery, but not the light flowers that you find in the high mountains. It's more dark flowers or mature flowers, or these very heavy scented flowers. Because at that time in March, the weather actually was already very, very hot. So the scents, the fragrances are really very rich and not as light as they are in the high mountains, where the weather is hot only for a short period of time. In March, actually at night, it's still cold in Sanxia, but during the day it was almost like summer already. The tea also, so it has more richness in the taste, even though it's very, very sweet. It's completely clean. Very pure, and the smell really, I'm like surrounded by flowers, and the color is a good match with these flowers. So I'm really very happy with this tea. It's really bursting with flowery fragrances, and the taste is still very, very smooth and maybe even a little bit, yeah, smooth, a bit lighter than a Qingxing oolong, purely Qingxing. So this is here I can feel that it is a mix between Qingxing and Jinshuan. And Jinshuan has a lighter aftertaste. We can also see this one because usually when it has really so much, so many fragrances that are quite strong, you expect a stronger aftertaste with the Qingxing oolong, but now with this new cultivar, it does not feel so heavy in the aftertaste. It's a very nice, interesting balance. And the fact, yeah, that it is not only a new plantation, but really the very first harvest, gives it really a very pure taste. Very, very pleasant. So I was very happy with this selection, and it's interesting for many reasons. It's a new cultivar, Qin Yu, number 22. It's the first time I was able to find this new cultivar in a plantation with a farmer, and it's turned into a spring Baozhong. Also a nice change to oolong. It would be interesting now to see and to try to find the same cultivar in the central region and see how it tastes when it's turned into a rolled oolong rather than a Baozhong, to see more what is where do these fragrances come from? These flowery fragrances, do they come from the plantation itself and the flowers that are growing next to the plantation, or are they specific to this cultivar? And do we find them again in Zhoushan or in Shaninxi or in Alishan? That would be interesting. But definitely, it's very pure, very sweet, easy to brew. And let's brew it again. So of course, it did not. It was a little bit more expensive than most Baozhongs, but given that the farmer took a risk with this new cultivar, and that it turned out so well, and that it is a very first harvest after a lot of investment, making a new plantation, waiting for 2 years, managing the plantation without any feedback for 2 years. So I feel really it deserves this price, and it's a great addition to the different cultivars that we have encountered. And this is also what makes Baozhong again interesting. They are experimenting much more with new cultivars than in central Taiwan. Central Taiwan, now they have really a model that works well with high mountain oolong based on Qingxing. But in the north, we find a lot of experiments. And a great variety of different cultivars. And we have Chilan, what we have, Fosho, Baozhong, Shuexian, Baozhong, Zhougui, of course Qingxing and Jinshuan, Cueyu are also present. but in the past, well, since it's the historic region for Baozhong, so lots of different plantations are still present in the north of Taiwan, or that we also have Tieguanin in Muja. So this variety is another reason why it's still interesting to find teas in north of Taiwan, especially this year with the drought. Maybe we'll find out that this having a lot of choice, a lot of diverse cultures of teas in North Taiwan will help them to be more resistant. It's a bit well. The good thing with the Qingxing oolong is that the leaves of Qingxing oolongs are rather small, and therefore they don't necessitate so much water. So that's also why they are quite suitable for the high mountains. But well, we'll see and hope that there will be enough water for them to grow. When I selected the Jinshuan, I also went to see the current growth of Qingxing. So the farmer was planning on harvesting Qingxing around 20 to 25th of April, which is maybe rather normal time, but given that Jinshuan was earlier than usual, we could have expected an earlier time of harvest for Qingxing. Well, we'll see, but this one is still going strong. The smells are still really bursting. It's a bouquet of orchids, smelling orchids, and most orchids don't smell. Here I'm really thinking of exotic flowers that have very powerful sweet smells. Yeah, so I hope you also enjoyed how I made the tea. You see, for the first two brews, go very slow on pouring the leaves on the leaves. Only with the third, I would use more strength. And this tea, due to its concentration, because it's a new harvest, is really very powerful. So don't need to fill it completely. And it's already the taste of spring, of a hot, sunny spring in Taiwan. So cheers. I wish you a good night in North America, and a good day if you watch me on replay. Don't forget to like and to subscribe to my channel. And also check on my new chabu. This is one of them that went online. And good tea. Bye bye.